Hello and welcome to this video. Now in this video, we're going to talk about one of the easiest and often most powerful ways to connect and stay connected with your students. It's through announcements. Now announcements in Canvas let you communicate important updates, weekly overviews, reminders, and even give encouragement, all right inside your course. Now, when it's used consistently, announcements can reduce confusion, build presence or your instructor presence in online classes, and also help students to stay on track. Now let's look at how we can create them and use them strategically. Okay, let's get to it. All right, I'm in my online course. As you can see, I have some grading I have to do right here. Now, if we go to the left-hand side and select announcements at the course navigation menu, I'll select that. You can see I already have some announcements in here, but I want to show you how to make a new announcement. So I'm going to click Add Announcement, and then I want to make a title for this announcement. So let's say I want to post my weekly overview for maybe week 4. Weekly overview for week 4. Now in here in this text box again, remember this is the Canvas Rich Content Editor. Again, it should look very familiar. I'll put, hello class. For this week, we will be discussing research methods. Make sure you read chapter 4 in the textbook and, misspelled that, contribute to the discussion for this week as well. So I have some text in there now, and you can write your message just like an email, but I recommend using short paragraphs, clear bullet points if you use them, and also bold headings if you have multiple things you're going to put in this message. Now, I often include a quick summary of what we're covering this week, also a reminder about upcoming assignments, and also any resources or links that students might need. And I also do videos. I include a video of myself. The reason being is that when I review a lot of data on the poor performing classes, student reviews about the professor or the instructor or the class in general often and almost always for those poor performing classes, students almost always talk about how there's low instructor presence. That's important to keep in mind. So every video you put out there, even if no student actually watches the whole thing, I think is still valuable. And we'll look at some example announcements that I've sent. So another thing you can do is add a video as I'm talking about it. So we can upload or record a video, as you can see, upload, record media. So you can upload a video that you've pre-recorded, or you can just record it right here. So here you can see that it's got me on camera, so I could say anything. I could say, welcome class, it's been great reading your last week's discussion post assignments. I'm glad I can get to know you a little bit more, whatever it might be, and then maybe cover the week's material. Okay, let's get back into it. Now, if we go below this message box right here, we can point out the settings. So you can choose to delay the posting if you want to, if you want it to go live later on. So as an example, you can choose maybe Monday morning. So the time of this recording is May 15th. I may want to choose it on maybe Sunday or Monday, start of the week, and maybe in the morning. I usually do it in the morning, usually 10 a.m. in the morning. And then you can select a closing date where it'll only be available for an amount of time instead of available during the whole class. So you can do that if you want. I usually leave this blank. I want these announcements to stack up and show that I'm trying to communicate to students, but also they can revert back to them if they need to. Now, you can also allow comments, which is great for casual Q&A or questions, comments that students might have. However, much of the time with the courses I review, that this actually isn't set. It says allow participants to comment, and it's not set yet. So what do you think we need to do? Well, let's save this. Let's go to our settings page. So I'm going to go to settings, and then if we scroll all the way down here, so we're under the course details. So we scroll all the way down, and you can see it says disable comments on announcements. So I'm going to deselect that because we want to be able to select that. So I'll update course details now. And then now as we go back and update this, I saved it. I'm going to go back and edit it now just so it can be updated. Now it's available. Now I can allow participants to comment. Now participants must respond to the topic before viewing other replies. So this is just an option here. So you've got quite a few options. You can also allow liking. The pros and cons of liking is that some students may want to show that they've read it or seen it so they could like it. If we get too much liking though, I don't really like it just because it becomes kind of a popularity thing within this course, especially with like discussion posts. I typically don't allow liking because I've done that before, and we have someone who maybe is more popular, gets lots of likes, and then others don't as much, and it just kind of becomes a popularity thing. So I usually leave that off, but I do want participants to comment. Now again, when you're ready, you can just save that. Oh, and it'll bring up a notification because I changed it. So I'm going to save and don't send. This is just a update. So when you modify an announcement, you should probably know this. It will ask you if you want to send the updates or the changes that you made. So I'm just going to save and don't send. Now, one thing to keep in mind, so you can see this, and this hasn't been sent yet because I set it to be sent at 10 a.m. this morning and it's before 10 a.m. But I'm going to go back and edit it here. This is something I see all the time, and it really confuses students. When I work with professors, I let them know that you shouldn't have all sections here unless you want these announcements that you create to be among all your classes that you're teaching. So this is vital to do because most of us probably have a couple other classes if we're teaching full time. Now, instead of all sections, you want to go down to the one you're actually teaching. So now it will just post to this specific class. Now this is important because if you don't have that selected, it will go to all sections. And I've done that before as a new instructor. I've made announcements and the announcement is to a particular class, but then it went to my other classes that the announcement wasn't even relevant to. I was teaching two different classes at the same time. Now, the way it would be relevant is if your announcement is not about the course content, but maybe a research opportunity or internship opportunity or a reminder to check in with the academic advisor. Now, that may be more relevant to all classes. But that's just something to keep in mind. You want to make sure that it's relevant for the classes you make the announcements in. All right, so I'm going to save that. Again, save and don't send. Now it's to my specific class. And here you can see it's right here. Now, announcements aren't just updates. They're touch points. So when you post weekly overviews, you help students to mentally reset and refocus on what they're supposed to do. When you celebrate progress or offer encouragement, you're really building community within the class. Now, announcements aren't just updates, they're really touch points. And when you post weekly overviews, you help students to mentally reset and refocus. When you celebrate progress or maybe offer encouragement, you're building community, especially in online or hybrid classes. So students who hear regularly from their instructor tend to be more engaged, less confused, and also more likely to succeed, and that's important. So let's just go to some of my announcements that I've already scheduled. So I have some scheduled announcements here. So this is my first one, just so you can see it. So I say, welcome to the Science of Psychology. This is what students see. They see a video of me, as you can see, and this was made right through the content-rich editor. And as you can see, I show them exactly what they need to do. I give them a week at a glance again, and I make it really fun. And you can play around with it. I just showed you a very basic announcement, but I would make it very fun. And especially if you teach this course, whatever course you're teaching over multiple semesters or terms or whatever it might be, you can keep the structure of these announcements and just go in and alter dates and different things if you do keep everything pretty much consistent. And one thing I want to show you as well is that you can choose how to show recent announcements. So I'm going to go to the home page here. Now you can see my past announcements on the home page. So this is the home page. Remember, this is the home page right here. Now let me view as student so you could see this. So this is the home view. This is the student view home page again. You can see everything there. Now you can see up top, the most recent announcement goes to the top and then it pushes it down. Now you can alter how many announcements students see. So I'm going to leave student view and I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you go into your settings again, and then we scroll down right here, it says show recent announcements on course homepage. I put 3. Now you only saw 2 because I'm only 2 weeks into the course with those announcements. But you can select how many announcements you want them to see on the homepage. Now, if you deselect this, this will show no announcements on the course homepage. So I want them to see at least 2 or 3 announcements on the homepage. And so I will continue to keep that updated. Then you just select update and you go to the homepage again and they will be there. If you don't select that button, then these announcements won't be there. That's something to keep in mind. All right, in this video, we learned how to create, format, and post announcements. We learned how to use a video and text to enhance messages, and also how announcements support student motivation and clarity. Now, whether you're using them for weekly overviews or deadline reminders, or just staying in touch, announcements are one of the best ways to maintain presence and really make that connection in your course with students. Now, we'll take a look at some other features where Canvas discussions and announcements and videos and things like that can really increase this instructor presence, something that is so vital and so important, especially in online Canvas courses, online courses in general. All right, we'll see you in the next video.